there've been a lot of sad
That I'm working in.
Okay.
My own sense of
That's
helplessness.
my
And I was like, okay.
Welcome to another installment of Leadership Landscape TV, where we go inside the minds of local community leaders and allow them a chance to offer some keen insights into how they see themselves and, most importantly, explore just what makes them tick. I'm Kurt Jacobs, host of Leadership Landscape TV, where previous interviews have showcased leaders from the world of politics, religion, business, sports, law, community activism, and civic engagement. Today, our 183rd guest is Barry Denton. He's the Executive Director of the Louisville Metro Police Foundation and a retired LMPD police officer. For those of you who don't know Barry, allow me to read some of his bio. In 1991, he started his career in law enforcement with the Jefferson County Police Department. In 2012, he retired from the Louisville Metro Police Department as a sergeant and was the commander of the department's bomb squad. Denton is a three-time Medal of Valor recipient and received numerous commendations for merit and service. Upon retirement, Barry took over as executive director of the Louisville Metro Police Foundation, the only nonprofit organization operating to support the Louisville Metro Police Department and its mission of making Louisville the safest city in America. Mr. Denton also is a professor for the American Military University and Indiana Wesleyan University, where he teaches courses in criminal justice, terrorism, and explosive disposal. Denton received his Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice from the University of Louisville and a master's degree in emergency management from the American Military Institute. Currently, he is working on his doctorate in educational leadership from Spalding University and will defend, I like that, his dissertation in the winter of 2016. Mr. Denton has been married to his wife, Metro Councilwoman Julie Denton, for 15 years. They have two daughters, Callie and Caroline, and a son, Thomas. The Dentons reside in, where else? Louisville. Barry, it is a true pleasure to have you on Leadership Landscape TV.
Great to be here, my friend.
Quite a pleasure. Whom do you credit most influential in your life, Barry? It can be more than one, personal or professional.
I would say, again, two people. My dad being the first one, he always just instilled on me the importance of service to your community. And my grandfather, they both, again, they spent their life serving in the military and then in our own community. So, yeah.
So were you the first police officer in the family, or?
No, it was actually my dad. And then after, it was incredible because after my grandfather retired from the Louisville Fire Department, he then became a police officer. So had an uncle who was on my mom's side who was a police officer over in New Albany, and just kind of family trait.
So you just, it was kind of a family tradition, so to speak,
Yeah.
and you just, did you always know at a young age, or did it something you evolved to want to be in law enforcement?
Yeah, you know, it's something I always wanted to do. I go back to a story, and a lot of people think, well, it was your dad that was really pushing for you and to do that. And it wasn't. My dad was really pushing for me to go federal. And there was a guy who had hit a car in our neighborhood, and I was 7 years old, and I saw it. Police officer responds, and of course, being the son of a cop, I went up to him and said, do you know my daddy? And he goes, yeah. And he asked me, he goes, you see anything? So I told him. And he had these little bitty cards, and it said junior police officer, and he signed my name to it and said, here you go, son. And I still have that card today, believe it or not. And that really is, from that point on, I'm like, I want to follow the footsteps of my dad and that patrol officer.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What was the most defining moment of your life, Barry? And again, it can be more than one, personal or professional.
You know what? I would say it was that time, because that influence on that officer had on me. And again, it had nothing to steer away from my dad, but that officer taking the time to give me that little card that he had to write my name on, that was that defining moment that I said, you know, I want to be like them. I want to make a difference and really be a person that influences children and to make a difference in the city I live in.
That's great. I love that. What is your biggest professional triumph? And again, it can be more than one, personal or professional.
Wow. I would say probably professional was the year I became a bomb technician. For about 3 years, when you first get on the bomb squad, you're digging ditches. You're a gopher, you're cleaning trucks, and it's a very grueling background investigation, and it's a really difficult school. You have to go down to Redstone Arsenal down in Huntsville, and that was something I just always wanted. And when I finally graduated, it was just probably my biggest triumph. Probably personally is finding my beautiful wife and having beautiful family. I think that's what everyone strives to have.
What's the best piece of advice ever given to you, Barry? Again, it can be more than one, personal or professional.
You know, you get advice a lot. Getting my doctorate in education and leadership, you know, there's a lot of things people will tell you. And I would say one of the biggest things that I focus my life on is being a Rotarian is the service above self motto.
Okay.
Because I think if more people gave more back to their community, we would probably have a much better world that we would live in.
Now, I'm going to ask this question because I know there's people that will watch this program that may aspire to be in law enforcement, a police officer, what have you. Number one, has your life ever been in danger and there was a moment where you thought you weren't going to make it through? And number two, did you ever lose anyone that you were out with? And if you did, I'd like you to share that with the audience and what that feels like. And if not, that's fine too.
Well, I will tell you, there are several times in your career in law enforcement, any police officer, their life will be in jeopardy. And in 22 years of being on the street, you know, things happen, you get into fights. Believe it or not, the thing where my life was most in jeopardy had nothing to do with anyone.
Really?
I had, it's where I actually get my nickname from, I had was able to bust a ring where people were stealing propane tanks.
Oh, wow.
And it was 6:33 in the morning. We had delivered these propane tanks back then to what is now the 3rd Division. And we were taking them off the back of a tow truck and put them on a metal dolly. And a lightning storm came in.
Oh, jeez.
And
what are the odds?
I remember a big shock, and what had happened, lightning struck me. And it had gone through the dolly, and it had gone out through my boots at the time, and knocked me down, singed my hair a little bit.
Wow.
And yeah, I could have died from that. And it was amazing because they take me in, and I remember the other officer I was with, and let's just say I was saying probably some poor choice words at the time because it hurt.
Sure.
And I just remember going, you know,
Wow.
calm down, you're going to be fine. They get me in the station, they run me to the hospital, and I had to spend the night. My heart had stopped briefly. But that was probably the scariest thing out of all the things in law enforcement. But that also coined me the nickname of Sparky, which, you know,
Sparky.
police officers are
Interesting.
always good about giving you nicknames. So, and it stuck. Took to this day. I still got people call me Sparky.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love
it's probably
that.
worse now. Now it's going to be on TV.
Yeah. So this show's called Leadership Landscape TV, so I asked the obvious question. Can you define leadership in one word in the great English lexicon, Barry? Again, it can be more than one, personal and professional.
I'd say it goes back again to the Rotarian model and what my dad instilled in me. It's service. To be a leader, you need to be service-oriented to those who work for you and those in the community that you serve or the business that you work in.
If someone were to ask you, what is the single most positive contribution that you believe you made to humanity, what would that be? It's a big question.
That is a big question. Wow. I'd say I'm still working on that.
Okay.
I think we all
Honest
strive
answer.
to do that. I think it's important that, you know, we all set goals for ourselves and we do what we can to accomplish those goals. I hope one day that it's my children, that they do something. If I'm a good parent, that they will do something that will do something way better than I ever have tried. But that, to me, that's something I strive to do every day. So not really one pivotal moment, no.
How did the Louisville Metro Police Foundation come about? I mean, what's kind of the backstory there? Because it's not an extremely old foundation, am I wrong?
No.
Right.
2005, at the time, it was a guy named G.J. Hart. He was working at Texas Roadhouse. He's now at California Pizza Kitchen.
Right.
G.J.'s dad was a police officer, Cornelius Hart, another state. And he really wanted to do something for police departments and for Louisville Metro at the time. And he met with, back then, a guy named Troy Riggs, who was, now Troy's gone, he's retired. And he said, let's do something. So they said, let's create a police foundation. And they determined that the mission was to make Louisville a safer city by supporting the Louisville Metro Police. And again, here we are, 2000, you know, several years later, 2015, and you know, it's grown, and we are a very successful foundation.
So you got the phone call, and it led to one thing or another?
Yeah, I retired in 2012, and upon retirement, I didn't really know what I was going to do. And
pretty young for retirement.
Yeah, I was lucky on that one. But the director, a guy named Troy Pitcock, was looking to go to a different occupation, and called me up and said, "Man, you're going to apply." And I had 2 weeks off on retirement. Went right back to work.
Nice.
So.
I love it. I love it. If you could change one thing in your own life or in general, what might that be? That's the magic wand question, as I call it. If you could be King Barry for King Denton for a day.
You know, if it's really in my own life, I would have probably focused on education so much earlier in my life. There are so many opportunities today. You know, you've got people and kids that are learning multiple languages and things like that. And I spent, my wife and I always joke, I spent 14 years working on a bachelor's degree, and then I went and worked on my master's, and actually about to get a second master's in 2 years. And it was just, all those years I just kind of enjoyed being a police officer, but I really wish I would have focused more on my education and gotten that out of the way.
That's great. Could you describe in detail a particular scenario or incident where you utilized your own philosophy on leadership? It can be more than one, personal or professional.
You know, I would say my philosophy again on service is that you know, as a police officer, you know, officers kind of have a full-time job even when they're not working. They're always on call. They're always in the middle. You know, you see them driving down the road and people stop them. And you know, the one thing that I always did, and again with the job, it's service, but taking part in nonprofits and other organizations outside of being a police officer, whether it's at my church, Highview Baptist, or being involved in other organizations. I'm on the Kentucky Derby Festival Board of Directors and things like that.
Sure.
Probably going that extra mile and not just being involved just in a job that deals with service, but outside of that.
Now you've got a little treat for the audience behind your back there. I don't know if you can grab it very easily.
My old uniform, yes. Yeah.
I'll put my leg down here.
Yeah.
And if you could maybe walk through what the uniform stands for, basically.
You know, it's funny because people will always stop a police officer in the middle of, you know, Thornton's, and they want to ask you 20 questions. I'm like, here, I'm just trying to eat my donut, and you're bothering me. But you know, the big question is a lot of times they want to know what's on the uniform, what the markings are. No different than a military uniform. And believe it or not, one of the biggest questions was always, what are these stripes on the side of the sleeve?
Right. For
Louisville Metro, each stripe is 5 years of service.
Oh, wow.
So that's the first thing. But then, you know, as police officers always know, they're known for their badge. And every badge has its own number, you know, distinguished for that one officer. Collar pins, and a lot of officers, like if you see on the side here, are the insignias deal with different things. For like example, that's my bomb squad pin. I was commander of the bomb squad, and I was in the traffic unit. Those lovely guys in the Mustangs everybody loves on the expressway. Yeah, I work with those guys. But yeah, every pin has this different thing, the different color medals and such. But you know, that's really what makes officers stand out.
Right.
And you know, if I could give one piece of advice for anything for parents, you'll be in the grocery store and they'll see a police officer stand there and kids acting up, and the parents say, you know what, if you don't act up, that police officer's going to lock you up. Please don't tell your children that.
Right.
Because again, we want them to be able to see this badge and go to that badge.
I see.
So yeah,
good advice.
A lot on, and it's a lot to put together, I assure you.
I can only imagine.
I would not recommend it.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, thank you for sharing that. Hope it gets back there. Now I've got, that's what I call the picture association
Here we go.
part of the interview.
Interrogation.
Yes, something like that. So here you are, it looks like at Derby with your lovely wife, Julie Denton. Beautiful picture.
Yeah.
Here you are, looks like Derby Festival.
Yeah, wearing the jacket. Everybody knows the jacket. Yeah.
Now here's the Louisville Metro Police Foundation. Any thoughts on that, or do you have any involvement in the logo?
Actually, you know, with the logo, the one thing we wanted to be able to prove is, again, with the fleur-de-lis.
Right.
Everyone looks at us with that. And then having the blue line to show that, you know, we are there to support the police. We want to make a difference to make our city safe, you know, not just for you, but our children and their grandchildren. So.
Here you are preaching the mission, it looks like.
That is at our signature event. It's called Boots, Badges, and Bids. Nice. This year, Matt Thornton hosted at his home.
Awesome.
500 of our closest guests. Yeah. But yeah, just raising money for the foundation.
I love it. This is a picture from a while back.
That's my old, I used to be commander of recruitment.
Commander of recruitment. It's
commander of recruitment, yeah.
Now, I don't know what you're serving here to who. What's going on?
You know, where you get these. Must be Facebook.
The internet's beautiful.
Yeah, internet's great. That's actually at my daughter's school, St. Patrick's, and I am serving lunch.
Nice.
Volunteer at her school. You always volunteer at your kids'
So it wouldn't be outdone being a bomb squad commander to not have some pics of that.
Yeah, now
so
that's
this practice or what's this?
Yeah, that was practice, man. Look how young I am. I got a full head of hair there. Wow.
This is the team, I guess.
Yeah, that was part of the team. We were getting an award. We got meritorious unit citation for our service to the community.
Okay. Yeah. That's great, and I love this one. What are we going to call you, Joe Friday, or what's going on here?
That was a recruitment picture. We were trying to instill, you know, the action, you know, get people to want to apply. And yeah, I don't think we actually ever used it, but yeah, it was a cool picture.
Yeah, yeah. I love this one. It looks like you're looking for something or preparing.
We were at training, and I had one of our bomb technicians inside the building disarming a fake bomb, and I was in there keeping an eye on to make sure they don't pass that when they're wearing the suit.
I got you. Now, where's this? Looks like some training somewhere?
That was training. You get to go to the most incredible places when you're on the bomb squad. That is in Lompoc, California.
Oh, wow, okay.
It was actually the same week that Michael Jackson was in the middle of his big trial.
Oh, geez.
And we were at a large vehicle bomb. They blew up, the military and the FBI blew up a tractor trailer. And we were there to investigate it for practice. So.
For practice, I love it.
Yeah.
There you guys, the team again.
That was from the old County Police Bomb Squad. That's when I first got on.
Nice.
That was the team, yeah.
So what are these little guys called?
That's the robot. That one is Bud. That's an F6A. It's
Okay.
a robot. It's made by Remote Tech.
Nice.
And let me tell you, it makes a lot of difference to be able to send that down range than sending a
Human.
guy.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Now for the human part of you. So this is you and
That's my daughter, Callie. She is a
Nice.
rainbow girl.
Gotcha.
And that was at her grand assemblies.
awesome.
Very
And
proud
this
of my
is
girls.
crystal ball.
Cristobal Gala with my daughter, Callie, and my wife, Julie.
There you go.
Yeah. We go to
And
a
I
lot.
thought I'd gotten through the bomb squad. But
Nah,
no,
it's
there
the
we
last
go.
team picture before I retired, actually.
There it was it.
Yeah.
Man, this is you. Yeah, more hair, younger here.
Yeah, I like
You're
how young
putting
I
up,
am.
putting
Yeah.
up some stuff there.
Starting to get a gut there, too. I don't like that. Wow.
We'll edit that one out.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
No, that's a beautiful picture. You and your lovely wife, Susan G. Komen dinner.
Oh, yeah. That's something
And
we
then-
love to go to.
And then this is Chief of Police Conrad.
That was actually at the Wrapped in Red Gala.
Okay.
And Chief Conrad's actually on the American Red Cross board.
Nice.
And we went with he and his wife, Joan.
And this looks like the night that your lovely wife was elected to the Metro
Yeah.
Council, I believe.
Actually, no. That was her
Excuse
last
me.
year getting elected to the state senate. She spent
Forgive
20
me,
years
that's
in the
right.
state senate. That was her last election.
That's right. And then this is,
Yep, that was that was her first time as a Metro Councilwoman in a parade, which is the Middletown Festival.
and you're the driver.
I'm always the driver.
things you do.
I'm always
for
the driver.
family.
That and throwing candy out.
I got you. Now this one needs some explanation.
That one, it's at Disney. You know, you're
Yeah,
down
right.
at Universal Studios down
Uh-huh.
in Florida, and Callie and her friend, and we surprised her friend for
Oh,
her
did you?
birthday. Yeah, and
Yeah.
showed up down there. So yeah.
No, this one probably needs a little explanation with Lonnie and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali. He had come here for the opening of the Ali Center.
Okay.
And that's probably one of my favorite pictures because he loves children,
Sure.
absolutely loves children. And it was so funny because he kept looking at Callie. You could see her, and at the time she was probably 3. And he goes to walk toward her, and we're like, oh, he's gonna hug her. He goes past her, grabs a cookie, and then he looks at her and goes, and he hands her a cookie. It
Really?
was the sweetest thing. I wish I had a picture of that. It was wonderful.
That is awesome. And then this is you here.
With Callie, yeah,
Yeah.
with Callie, yeah, it's on the what's called the T3 Segways. The police officers use them, and we were showcasing those because the Police Foundation purchased those for the police department.
And then I'll let you take this wherever you'd like.
That is my stepson Taylor. Taylor unfortunately died in a car accident at the age of 19, 7 years ago last month. And
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, he was going to Lexington. He was just a good kid, and going through any tragedy in your life, it was difficult for us. But he was a very devout Christian, and I'm confident I will see that boy again in heaven.
That's beautiful.
Good kid.
That is awesome.
Miss him
Thank
every
you for
day.
sharing that with us. A lot of people don't do that. If someone asked you, what does Barry Denton stand for, what would you tell them? Not what they might say about you, which may not be suitable, but
Wow.
what would you tell them?
What about me?
Couple words.
I stand, I'd say, for, again, and I go back to it all the time, is service. And not just to your community, but to your family. I'm a very big family man. I'm big about spending time with my children and my wife. And those are the two things. And like I said, when it comes to service, but family and, taking time to go to church and praising our Lord, and again, taking your family.
Yeah.
We all spend so much time these days on Facebook and the
Sure.
internet. We really need to spend time for those that we care about.
Do you think there's a difference in today's leaders, especially in law enforcement, since that's primarily your background, than in previous generations? Do you feel culturally things are different? I mean, there's been a lot of things, that have happened in our country that may or may not have favored how law enforcement handled it. What are your thoughts on the leadership of law enforcement? Let's put it that way. There's no wrong answer. This is your interview about you. So.
I would say if you literally look at the leadership of law enforcement where things have changed, technologically, we're able to get our news right then and there. And there's so much propaganda that goes out, whether it's on Facebook, social media. So leaders sometimes aren't in the midst of that they get to lead as much as they're putting out fires, or they're
Right.
trying to eliminate the beliefs that people see. Because, as we all joke, if it's on the internet, it must be true, right?
Right.
And so I think that's where you see leadership changing in the world of law enforcement, because it's becoming such a difficult profession that you see less and less people wanting to go to that profession. And it means our leaders are getting younger. Instead of having those 30-year officers, they're kind of like me. They're retiring after 22 years. They're not staying for 30 and 40 years. So I would say there's a big change in that. Younger leaders in the profession.
And do you feel like it'll swing back, or can we tell yet?
I don't think we can tell yet. It's going to be interesting to see how the climate will change. When I got on the police department, they handed you a radio, they gave you a badge, and go do good. And now they're getting tasers, and they're getting computers and body cameras and all these new things, and it's a lot of responsibility to put on someone who's 21 years old who just gets on the police department.
But usually it's a noble profession for those that go into it.
It is.
It's an honor or a family tradition or whatever the
Yeah.
case might be. If you were granted, now you're more or less, well, you aren't retired, but you are from the police department, but you're with the foundation. If you were granted 2 weeks right today, you know, 14 calendar days, 10 business days, no technology ideally.
Wow.
Yeah,
What would
which
I
is
do with
almost
myself?
not
Yeah.
even a realistic question anymore.
Yeah.
Where do you go? What do you do? Who do you take with you?
I'd take the family, and
Okay.
I would go probably down to Atlantis in the Bahamas. It's a beautiful place, or somewhere.
So you've been there
beachy.
before?
Yes, I
Nice.
surprised my wife years ago with a trip there, and I would just go down and spend time with family. Again, without our phones and,
Right.
and everything else. A lot of people will go on a cruise, and you don't have your phone unless you pay the outrageous service for it.
Sure.
And we did that a couple years ago, and it was wonderful. Kind of get used to not grabbing that phone constantly.
No,
But it
absolutely.
was just nice to just check out and really focus on those you love.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you'd have done anything differently knowing what you know now about your career in law enforcement?
Wow. No, I would have gone and exactly the way it is. And, you know, we've all made mistakes. I made mistakes on my job. Still make mistakes, and we learn from those. They make you who you are. And no, I would have done things exactly the way I had done. Again, outside of trying to maybe get my education done earlier than later in life. But no, it's who we are.
That's great. That's great. If you could have dinner alone with anyone, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
Be two people. It would be my dad, and it would
Okay.
be my grandfather. And you know, life goes by so fast. Both of my parents passed away really early in age.
Sorry to
and
hear that.
It's one of those where I would love to sit down though with my dad and my grandfather, because my grandfather served in World War II. My dad had all these years, served in Vietnam, and a lot of things we did not know. Like I did not know my dad received the Purple Heart. Never told anybody until after he passed away.
Wow.
And we found it and found all this stuff. And to sit down and just ask them about family history and get to know more about their experiences and what advice they'd give me, plus to tell them the things I've done.
Sure.
Just to be
Your
able to be
successes.
proud of me and my family.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up about things you don't know. That's one of the primary reasons why I created this program. Because a lot of times these interviews end up in places, and it's very powerful when people pass on to where they end up. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. If you could have written a letter to the younger Barry Denton, what might you have said to him?
Wow.
Now we're talking 6th grade, high school, whatever. You can take your pick.
I would have told Barry to work out every day. Let me tell you.
I would have told Kurt Jacobs, the younger self.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was fine. I was one of those guys that could eat anything, drink
Right.
anything. I was fine. And then 40 hit.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know,
Boom.
I've got like an inner tumor around my stomach. And now I work out every day. It's pretty bad, but I mean, every day. And I wish I would have got myself in that routine way back in the day. And now I have to do it because I have to do it. But I
Right.
really wish I'd instilled that in myself more, be
Right.
more healthy.
So do you feel the foundation's going to be around a long time? I do, from what
Yes.
I can tell.
We're doing great things. We're giving back, you know, $300,000-$400,000 back in services and equipment.
beautiful.
We're helping officers and their families when they're in distress.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and this is a critical time that these officers really need our support.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I think it's here to stay. And again, it does positive things for you, for me, and again, our grandchildren.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Someone young out there that's thinking about getting into the law enforcement, any quick advice for them?
You know, the first thing, and I think people right now will look at the generational aspects, the millennials and such, and you know, what they really need to look at is it is not just a job, it is your life, it's your career. It's a wonderful job. Some of the best years of my life were in law enforcement. But you know, to really take it that, you know, you're helping people, and no matter what goes on, what happens in the national climate, to really go and enjoy the occupation and the fact that you get to help people. They need to apply. You know, go
Yeah.
make a difference, because again,
That's great
you know,
advice.
you are really touching lives, one family sometimes at a time.
Now, no guest gets out of this question in the hot seat, the guest seat. Younger or older, any profession, walk of life. God forbid, Barry, it ends today. It's your last day on earth. How do you want to be remembered?
As a good father, I really do. My children, they mean the world to me. And I want them to be able to look back like I look back on my parents and go, you know what, I am who I am today because the values that my parents instilled in me, and whether it's going to church, whether it's volunteering, making a difference, I really want that, because most people, no matter who you impact, your family's the one that really gets the most impact. And I would want to be known more than anything as just a good father.
I think that's a great note to end on, Barry. Sergeant.
Thanks, my friend.
Thank you, Barry, for being on Leadership
Appreciate
Landscape TV. It's
Thanks.
quite a pleasure to have you. If you have any general feedback or a guest suggestion, feel free to email me at kurt@leadershiplandscapetv.com. And we're also all over social media. Just type in Leadership Landscape TV or check out our website with the same name. Until next time, I'm Kurt Jacobs. Thanks for watching. Yeah, that uniform's pretty cool stuff.